Joanna, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I think we just to make sure we have everyone's on. Okay, it's 7:05. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to ask that we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To
To the
flag
flag of the United States
of America,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
under
under God.
God, indivisible, with
with
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hey, I'm going to do my disclaimer here. The Board of Education approves the following, whereas the state of New York, along with the entire nation and world, is in the midst of COVID-19, aka the novel coronavirus pandemic, a public health emergency unprecedented in modern times. Whereas on March 16, 2020, Governor Cuomo issued Executive Order 202.4, which suspended the requirements of the Open Meetings Law concerning Board of Education meetings. And whereas permitted by Executive Order 202.1, the Board of Education's meeting tonight will be conducted via www.youtube.com with no public participation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby suspends all policies pertaining to the format for this meeting, including Policy 1120, which provides for public participation and comment at Board of Education meetings. So we are, as you all know, we're virtual tonight. I will keep it brief and defer to Dr. Stiniak. I just wanted to, first of all, so the public understands the reasoning why the board and Dr. Stiniak agreed to make it virtual under the governor's rule. We are hybrid in the school districts, and to just eliminate just the traffic in the schools and the resources to sanitize tonight. So I just wanted to let everyone know that in case anyone wasn't aware, and hopefully our next board meeting will be back in the Fayette GPR, and we'll be meeting together as we used to do. It seems like a long time, and I'd like to first of all just thank all of our parents and the students and the faculty. As today was the first day of school for most of our students, and tomorrow is the first day of school for the other half of our students. But I just wanted to thank all of you and the administration, of course, because it's your patience and your feedback and all of your dedication over the past few months really got us to this point where today, whether you're virtual or you're in person or you're hybrid, whatever, the fact that the kids were back today and they're able to be with their friends in some capacity, and the teachers are together, and I commend you all, and it's going to be a challenging year for sure. It's been challenging, but North Merrick has been doing a great job. I'm proud. I'm going to say it again. Every board meeting I've been saying it. I am proud to serve on this board with my colleagues. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that maybe not everyone sees, but everyone has the best interest of the students at heart, and we're giving up time and just to try to make it as easy as possible. But there's nothing here is easy, and there is no perfect solution, and nothing's perfect. But I think North America is doing a really good job, and we're going to just try to keep improving it over day by day. And on that note, I'm not going to belabor the point, but I just wanted to thank, and it's nice to see Mr. McDade and Mr. Merrims, Ms. Friedman, all together tonight. Thank you for everything you did today to get us through this point over the past few months. And again, I'm going to thank my board members because, thank you. You're always available. Every single board member always responds, is always available. And, I think the community should know that. So on that note, Dr. Stiniak, I will, before we go into, I'm going out of order. I know I'm going out of order. Joanne, don't yell at me, but we'll do the routine approvals, but I'd like to defer to Dr. Stiniak for her comments tonight, if we could go into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ryan. Welcome to everybody. First day of school, the 2020-2021 school year. On behalf of the Board of Education, who provides so much support to us each and every day, night, weekends, midnight, I thank you on behalf of our administration, our teachers, our students, and our parents. Without your support, the ship would not be moving forward. So thank you so much for that. Thank you, parents, for sending your students, your children to us. They are our most cherished gift, and there was nothing more touching today than to see students laughing and smiling and taking pictures and happy to be at our schools. Thank you, our building administrators, our teachers, our custodians. Oh my goodness, they do magic when we leave work. Our custodial staff, Mr. Carter, our maintenance crew, weekends, Labor Day, midnight, working tirelessly to get our buildings ready to open. And today was a beautiful day. The sun was shining. Everyone was happy. And tomorrow we look forward to welcoming our other half of students physically, as well as our virtual students who we welcome today, whose parents have chosen the option of having their child do our virtual program. So welcome, everyone. We look forward to moving forward this school year, and we're doing it together. We're doing it united, which makes us stronger. North Merrick's community has never been stronger when you look at how all of the stakeholders have come together and shared and discussed all of the items necessary to be able to open schools. So moving forward, I was privileged a couple of weeks ago to watch a panel discussion called Inside Long Island Herald, and our own board president, Ms. Megan Ryan, sat on the panel along with Dr. Dillon, superintendent of Nassau BOCES, Freeport Middle School principal, and Dr. Bill Johnson, the former superintendent of Rockville Center, who now works for the New York State Education Department. And it was very interesting and supporting to hear all of the issues that school districts across the state are dealing with during these most difficult times. And it was very nice to hear our board president not only speak as a board president, but in her capacity in her professional life. So that was I was very privileged to watch that and learned a lot. So thank you. A big thank you we have a donation on the agenda this evening from the Lawler family for an Old Mill Road sign. I'd like to thank them publicly, Mr. and Mrs. Lawler and their family, for that donation. Next week, we will have our Meet the Teacher evening on September 15th. We will be holding that virtually. Our principals will be working with our teachers, and more information will come out to parents from our principals as to the schedule. Again, it is in the best interest of the health and safety of students and staff to limit the number of adults that enter the buildings. That is why we have chosen to move forward with a virtual Meet the Teacher evening. This morning, central office administrators circulated all of the arrivals amongst the 3 buildings. A big thank you to our principals and our staff. Those entrances and those arrivals worked very well. I'd like to request of adults that when you are on school property, in the presence of students, to please wear your masks. Do not forget to wear your masks. I know our principals put out a communication of some reminders this evening to our parents, so thank you for that. Today, or actually last night, superintendents were notified that we have another reporting mandate. We must report to the state any COVID positive tests that have been reported to us, as well as our student enrollment, our teacher, the number of teachers in each building, and the number of staff members in each building. And if we've received any COVID positive reports, and then we must share that information and we must align it with the Department of Health information. These reports are available to the public. And this information, this data must be reported daily by myself, the superintendent of schools, or my designee by 3 o'clock each and every day. And we will, a reason for this is to take a look at any trends and take a look at across the state if there's any increase in cases. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce now Mr. Tom McDade, our business official, who is going to give us a brief overview who closed out the books from last year and where we stand. And just so that the public is aware, next month we will have our auditor present to the public more information regarding the closing out of our books for the 1920 school year. So Mr. McDade, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Seniak. Well, we finished out another year, and I can honestly say this has been one of the more interesting years to close out the books. One of the questions we're always talking about with the COVID-19 this year is, well, since the schools weren't open, there had to be some type of savings to the district. And I'm happy to say from that standpoint, there was a little bit of savings to the district in regard to not having security costs, limited bus and transportation, some of the utilities costs. We wound up saving approximately about $150,000 when you look at what was going to be spent and which didn't have to be spent for that, which is good because we're able to then put that towards the reserves and fund balance. One of the things you'll see tonight, if you see the long agenda, there's a lot of use of reserves, resolutions, as well as the reserve plan. I really like everybody to take a look at the reserve plan. It's something we put up every year. It basically details line by line how we run the reserves in the district. And one of the reasons why I wanted everyone to look at that this year is that you'll see it when you look at page 2, the difference from last year to this year, what we're using and what we have left over this year. You'll see that there's approximately about a $447,000 decrease this year in regard to that. And one of the main reasons for that is that we took money out of the capital reserve of about $225,000, as well as we were not able to put back as much into reserves because of the money that was left over at the end of the school year. One of the things that we wound up unfortunately happening to us at the end of the school year is, if you remember, the wonderful governor told us about the 20% decrease in state aid and how it was going to be 2021. Well, we received a nice present at the end of the school year that basically said, well, any money that we haven't received state aid-wise, you're going to get that 20% now. And unfortunately, we took that hit at the end of the school year when we were closing the books for an additional $113,000 this past year. But the good news is that we're still able to put $252,000 back into reserves. So what I'd like everyone to do at home is, when you have time and you want to fall asleep, basically take a look at the nice reserve plan. It details everything on how we're using reserves, how they're set up, and how we anticipate using them for the school year. Now, I just wanted to give a brief overview in regard to that for tonight. What's going to wind up happening when we have the auditors come in, the auditors are going to have to give a presentation as well that's going to show everything that we're talking about tonight. So that's basically the whole thing in regard to that for now.
Thank you, Mr. McDade. I'm going to turn it back over to our board president, Mrs. Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McDade. Look forward to the auditor's presentation next month. Thank you. I'm just gonna ask if we can have an approval, a motion to approve 2A. That's the approval of our minutes from 8/11 and 8/25, 2B and 2C, the routine approvals. So if we could have a motion to approve 2A, B, and C.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Gordon, second by Ms. Miller. I saw you, Tracy. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. So the motion carries. And then I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Long, if she's, I think I see her. Yep. For public comments. Did we get any public comments, Joanne? You're on there. You're muted.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, we didn't receive any public comments.
Okay. All right. So, and again, if, especially since we're meeting virtually, if you have any questions, we are always available. You can feel free to email Dr. Siniak, your principals, the board, and we're happy, especially with the, the day-to-day things, you can contact your schools, but we're happy to answer any of your questions. For board,
Megan, I'm sorry, really quickly. What's the cutoff time for the questions on a Friday?
10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. the day of the meeting. That's been the rules for a few months now. 10 a.m. the day of the meeting.
Okay, so if we received one today after 10 a.m., will this be answered next board meeting?
It will be answered by Dr. Siniak within 24 hours, and if need be, yes, we can bring up at the next board meeting.
It'll be on the next board meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure. And that's been the rules since we've been meeting virtually.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Corona. So I'm going to ask for the board to vote on 5A through 5R, but I'd like to take Q out and hold that as a separate motion and for discussion. And that includes the donation on behalf of the board. I know Dr. Siniak did thank the Kathleen and Matthew Waller, but the board also thanks you for your generous donation for the OMR sign. So thank you so much. And if I could have a motion for 5A through 5R with acceptance of 5Q
Motion.
by Ms. Gordon. I need a
I'll
second.
second.
Second by Ms. Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. So that motion passes. And for 5Q, I'm just going, it's the Board of Education approves the following resolution. Resolved that the board president is authorized to execute an MOA with the North Merrick Faculty Association dated September 9th, 2020, pertaining to the appointment of temporary educators and the modification of work schedules of certain instructional employees that are necessary to meet the instructional needs of students in accordance with the district's reopening plan for the 2020-2021 school year, and be it further resolved that superintendent and/or her designee is authorized to take the necessary action to implement the terms of the agreement. And before we make the motion, I would just like our counsel, Neil Block, just to explain it, just so our community understands what this motion is for, what this MOA is concerning.
Right. Good evening, everybody. Because of the manner in which we're providing instruction pursuant to our reopening plan as a result of the pandemic, there was an operational need to be able to retain a few more educators to be able to impart the instruction. But there's not a need to have these folks be employed on a permanent basis. It's only on a temporary basis as we navigate our way through this school year. The North Merrick Faculty Association represents the teachers in our district. We reached out to the union to negotiate the terms and conditions for these temporary staff members because we were not looking, to put them on the salary grid that is currently in the schedule. We have numerous financial challenges that we're working through this year, and we wanted to make sure that while we can meet the instructional needs of our students by bringing in these temporary educators, that we also do it in a fiscally responsible manner. We were able to collaborate with the union to identify the financial terms and conditions of this employment. These are not tenure track positions. Again, these are basically temporary appointments at a fixed rate. We appreciate the collaboration with the union, and this MOA, which is on for approval tonight, is the byproduct of those discussions.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
guess just a quick question, Megan. Neil, it's probably not for you, but Tom, can you just explain to the public what the cost would be? If you have it, an estimated cost?
Yeah, the cost to the district is in regard to the salary. They're not coming in on a step in the district, which would be, if it was a master's, it would be in the 60 range. They're basically being paid $200 a day for the 183 days, which will work out to be about $36,600.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Good question, Mr. Crowley. Thank you, Tom. So if I could have a motion.
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Crowley. Second,
Second.
Ms. Gordon, and all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right. So we're all in favor. Motion carries. Thank you for your nice explanation, Mr. Block. All right. If we give a motion to approve the personal actions report 6A.
Motion.
Held in the mailing. Motion by Mr. Crowley, second by Tracy Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. So motion carries. And now for 7, I'm going to ask again for special services.
Meg, sorry, hold on 1 second. Back to the PAR. Just make a note that Ed Corona recused himself for the vote for number 5 in the PAR.
Sure. Joanne,
All
5. You got it? Are we good? You're muted, Joanne. Okay. Okay. We'll make note, Mr. Corona. All right. 7, special services. I am going to ask just for a motion for 7A through D. Again, I'd like Mr. Block, just to explain, because it is an MOA with the North Merrick Faculty Association, so I'd like to have a discussion on that. So if we could do a motion from 7A through 7D, a motion to approve 7A through 7D. Ms. Miller? Ed seconded, I believe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries. And then 7E, for those who don't have it in front of you, it's an MOA, it's an authorization to execute an MOA with the Faculty Association dated September 9th, 2020, pertaining to the appointment of temporary educators and the modification of work schedules of certain instructional employees that are necessary to meet the instructional needs of students in accordance with the district reopening plan for 2020 to 2021 school year, and be it further resolved, the superintendent or his designees authorized to take necessary action to implement the terms of the agreement. So Neil, if you could just explain why there's a second MOA.
Yeah, I don't think there should be. I think it's a mistake. It's
All right,
duplicative
good.
of the initial one.
Even better. I thought maybe we needed it for the
No.
for the
But this
special.
gives us an opportunity, Neil, if you'd like to speak about the second part of the MOA with the modification of the work schedule.
Yeah, and Dr. Staniak, why don't you discuss the operational need for that?
Okay, so that is an error, Joanne. I just noticed it myself that the MOA is actually listed twice. There is two parts to the MOA. Mr. Block did an amazing job doing the first part, so I'll take his lead and do the second part. Part of the MOA is the modification of work schedules of certain instructional employees to meet the instructional needs of our students, which is in line with our reopening plan. Our instrumental music program in the past, during normal pre-COVID times, our instrumental music teachers would pull students out of classes to provide lessons. These would be our band and our orchestra students. In light of our reopening plan and the health and safety of our students, the instrumental music teachers have agreed to provide virtual instrumental lessons to our students to preserve the integrity of the program before and after school hours. So we would then need to modify their work day as opposed to a normal work day that they would have worked in the past. Plus, our instrumental music teachers will also be providing general music instruction to our students whose parents have opted for their children to participate in our virtual program as well. And we thank them for their flexibility in modifying their day. Thank you, Mrs. Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you. So good. One less thing to vote on. All right, moving on. Policy. We have a policy that needs approval tonight due to our virtualness. The Board of Ed approves the following resolution, whereas the North Merrick Union Free School District policy number 9310, adoption of policies, contains the Board of Education procedures for this adoption, change, and repeal of district policies, and whereas the Board of Education has determined that it is necessary to create Board of Education policies 6180, district issued portable electronic devices at this time. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Ed waives policy 9310 with respect to the requirements related to the first reading of policies and the sequence of adoption of policies in relation to policy number 6180, district issued portable electronic devices. So this is one that, from my understanding, that we need this passed tonight. So I'm asking for a motion to approve policy 9310.
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Corona. Second by Tracy Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And no one's opposed. Okay, so the motion carries. Do we have any reports of the committees for the high school, Mr. Corona or Miller?
Actually, our high school meeting is tomorrow night, so it's a rare occasion where the elementary school comes before the high school, so there's no report at this time.
Well, I eagerly await October's report. So
We'll have two months worth
we'll
of
have 2
meetings.
months worth of. Thank you. And thank you. PTA Council, School Community Relations, anything, Dr. Siniak, to report? I know it's the first day of school.
Yes, we had our PTA District Council meeting last week. We had Mr. Corona attended. So do you want to give the little update?
Yeah, it was a brief meeting, but we did go over the summer program recap. We heard what happened and took place in the summertime. A lot of time was spent discussing responsibilities, PTA, district council, and what was going to happen. A few things talked about housekeeping, like using the copy machine in district office, things like that. And I think we talked about board recognition responsibilities way far off in the distance of November or something like that. But that was about it. It was a good, meeting to get to know everybody. A lot of, welcomes and introductions, but it was productive.
Great.
Well, there was a lot of energy, and we thank the PTA, all of its members, for supporting our students and supporting our schools, because they provide so much for us each year. And I don't see that this year will be any different. Very creative ideas, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Corona and Dr. Siniak. Mr. Carter, I know you have some updates for us, so it's all yours.
Yeah, so it was a very busy week. Lots going on. And, just for a little excitement, I figured I would do the sidewalks out in front of HDF because things weren't exciting enough. But the last week was hectic. It was a lot, just getting the classrooms final set up, getting the desk counts correct. We were all waiting with bated breaths as a 18-wheeler came across the country with our desks on them. They arrived and we jumped right on them, got them installed, got the shields installed on those. There was a snafu with the shields, which required us going back to the drawing board. The company was super supportive. We got that taken care of. There's just so much to do the week before school opens. Pardon me, on a normal school year. So this past week was just, it was crazy. And I really have to give a shout out to the Buildings and Grounds group. They did an amazing job. They never said never. They were there all night on Friday. They were there on Saturday. Bill came in on Monday, just making sure everything was ready to go. Something comes to you in the middle of the night. They came in the next morning just to double check that it was right. And I can't give these guys enough credit. They did such an amazing job. And it was really cool seeing the kids back, that made it all worthwhile, because the last week has been kind of stressful. I would venture to say, for everyone on this panel. So seeing the kids back, seeing the parents kind of happy, we didn't know what to expect. And it turned out to be really nice. I was at camp this morning. So it was great day to start a school year. So that's about it. I mean, we're just finishing up these sidewalks on Little Whale Neck. So that puts us in a really good spot with the sidewalks. They were really bad at HDF. Camp Avenue, as everyone knows, had a major overhaul about 7 years ago, I think, sidewalks and pavement and stuff. And in front of Old Mill's pretty good. So this is our final, these are the public sidewalks, naturally, the ones that the trees heave up. So we should be in pretty good shape with that. So
Great. Thank you, Mr. Carter.
thank you, guys. Thanks for all your support, board members.
Hope you take a nap tonight before you have to go back.
I think I'm napping right now, actually. I'm half in, half out. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
It's been an exhausting weekend.
We're going to strike that, Joanne, from the minutes.
What?
Our meetings are not boring, Mr. Carter.
Not at all.
Moving on. Mute yourself. All right. Communications received, Ms. Long. Do we have any?
We have not received any communications since our last board meeting.
Okay. All right. Unfinished business. Any unfinished business that we would like to bring up? I am going to then move on to new business. Any new business? Everything's new business. Everything. We're doing a lot.
Everything is new business, but Mrs. Smith, if you don't mind, if I have the floor, I wanted to say, and again, I think this is a kudos to everyone, to our fellow board members, to administration, to our principals in the buildings, to our teachers and staff, and to all our parents. I personally was, at Old Mill Road this morning, dropping off my son, and I think I know that we all must have our jitters, we all must have our different radars of what we're thinking we must look like. I think that, I can't how seamless that it went, and I think that just goes to the effort that went behind the scenes between everybody involved. And I personally just want to say thank you to everybody involved. That goes to my fellow trustees, to our admin, our principals and teachers, because our children felt safe. They came home happy. They were excited to be there. And I mean, I honestly didn't see a single tear from a single student. So I just wanted to express that I think it's a collaborative effort from all of us to make sure that this happens and our children all feel safe.
Is there anything else before we adjourn? Any, Dr. Stiniak? I think we covered everything tonight. Hopefully, October, we will all, be together in the GPR, and more to come on that. And I would like to acknowledge September 11th on Friday, all of our North Merrick families, our first responders, and any, it's a day that we hold dear, and we'll be remembering everyone on Friday. So on behalf of the board, I would just like to make note of on Friday. And on that note, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn. I hope everyone stays well. It's 7:36. If we could have
Motion.
a motion. Thank you, Mr. Corona.
Second.
Tracy,
Second.
second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe, be well.
Good night.